Welcome, LLE, Monday Mindset. What are we going to have on our Monday Mindset? Well, there are songs about Monday that I've heard. Monday, Monday. I don't remember the rest of the lyrics, but it's something like, Monday, Monday, can't stand that day. Wish you would go away, Monday. Okay, well, we're not going to have Mondays go away. So we need to figure out what to do with it. And if we're going to figure out something to do with a Monday, let's make it the best Monday possible. Monday is the day. Today's Monday, and what I want to do is work on the first L of LLE, learning to launching to earning. And I've got an illustration here that more or less represents the cognition tower. For some of you that have taken my NLP 2.0 courses, it's all about the cognition tower. It's a tool that can be used with NLP, but in fact it can be used with ACT, it can be used with CBT, it can be used with most, if not all, modalities out there. In fact, you can just learn it on your own. If you take my NLP 2.0 master course, you know you can just use it and do some regression and go back and talk to your inner child and correct a lot of limiting beliefs. In fact, I believe this is a tool that will unlock all those little issues that you have in your childhood. And so you don't have to visit your child on each and every visit. You'll finally get this understanding that most of your issues that you have, that in terms of your limiting beliefs and trigger words and these sorts of things, this all happened when you were a child. And you can go back and talk to your child, but not just have the conversation, but understand why. And that's the key element to life, understanding why. All right, so let's focus on this for a minute. If you notice, I've got some numbers up on the side here, 0, 3, 9, 15, 27. These represent, in terms of our development into humans, becoming children or going from childhood up to adulthood, these are critical mile markers, so to speak. Okay, and the way I want to illustrate this is imagine that 27 represents sort of 27 feet of a pool depth. Okay, we got a person here climbing up a ladder. We got a nice little platform diving board up here. This is somebody who wants to go up and do the fancy spins and twists and turns, and they come down, and I don't know how they do this, but they spin around, they do all this crazy stuff in the air, and they hit the ground, or not the ground, that would hurt, right? They hit the water with no splash. There's no splash, it's just, but I used to be a swimmer, and I used to do some diving as well, and I know that if you are going up that high, and you hit the water, and you make no splash, you're going down very quickly. The marker doesn't seem to be wanting to work. We have to switch out markers here. Let's go with purple. Purple might be better. There we go. You go down really fast. So if you don't want to hit the bottom of the pool, you need to be able to turn up real quick as well. All right, so what this represents is the quality of our life. If we want to really enjoy life and get up on the springboard of life and jump up and do all the fancy things in life and just really take a risk here and there without any fears of really getting hurt, we really need our pool to be full to the top. Because even if we come in really hard, there's enough water there to keep us from hitting bottom and breaking open our head, okay? And we don't want to do that. So what we want to do is make certain that our pool is full. But here's the thing, folks. Most of us don't really operate at this level. 27, what does that represent? Well, that's the average age that most neuroscientists will tell us is when higher cognitive function and critical thinking skills, the frontal lobe, is refined. It's done. No more development occurring. This is when we can actually start utilizing, as perfect as we can make it, critical thinking skills. Make intelligent decisions, balance with our emotional needs, so we make proper decisions and go forth and get the best results of life. It's the quality way to live, right? But unfortunately, a lot of us don't have a lot of experience in this regard until we get into our mid-30s and 40s, or you get to be my age. You realize, wow, you need a lot of experience at this level to really be able to perform at your optimum best in life. So if we're not operating there, where are we operating at? Well, a lot of us are operating at higher cognitive function level, which is here. This is where they say higher cognitive function is fully developed. We don't have the critical thinking skills yet in place, but we do have higher cognitive function, which basically means we can see outside the box, we can see hypothetically, we can empathize with other people, we can see other people's points of view, and so that's not a bad place to be. But imagine trying to do all things in life and doing all the somersaults that we want with the pool only this high up. Okay, I don't think you're going to be jumping up quite as high. So you're going to be a little more careful as you jump. You might just tip over and fall into the water, and that way you don't get yourself hurt. Now, some people will go ahead and do the risky stuff, and they end up, getting damaged. And this could be not just physical damage, but this could represent hitting bottom, could be emotional damage, mental damage, if you will. Those kinds of experiences in life that are traumatic and painful. If we hit the bottom too hard, it could hurt, and it could leave a nasty scar. But here's the real scary reality, folks. According to studies done to figure out if there was a difference between, I think, African Americans and Anglo-Saxons, they were trying to figure out if where they got educated made a difference. But while they were in the process of trying to figure out this, they were using the Piaget scale system to determine at what level of cognitive development people were operating by to make this decision, or sort of figure out the answer between the African Americans and the Anglo-Saxons and what they were experiencing. Well, they found out there was really no difference between African American experience and Anglo-Saxon experience. But what they did find, which was rather enlightening to say the least, is that right here is where most people are operating. In fact, the universities that they were studying, there was one in England, there was one in Africa, and there was one in the United States. They did the study, and it found out that even after they had graduated, over a third of the students, 22-year-olds, they're done, and they've had the outerly experience, that wonderful college experience. It's supposed to open up your mind. They're operating at the concrete operational level, at roughly what a 9-year-old would operate at, which means quite binary, quite linear, if-then type of processes, which is fine, but you can't get very far in life. So imagine if in life this is the way most of us are operating, and we are trying to do a lot in life. Looking down at that's kind of scary. And if we do something up here, we're going to hit the bottom pretty fast. And if we get some life experience, it's going to hurt enough to where now when we get up on that springboard, we're not going to spring up. We're going to probably climb down, hang on to the edge of that thing, right? Oh boy, and just slowly drop. And hopefully we don't hit the bottom. And as I go through my life experience, and I run into all sorts of people who are having issues that would cause them to want to contact a person like me, a life coach, there's a lot of fear that's underlying most people's issues. They're afraid of this or they're afraid of that. They may be afraid of themselves. They may be afraid of others. There's some sort of, all these limiting beliefs all funnel back to fear. It's all about fear. And so I just wanted to illustrate that this is really a good example of what fear might look like. Imagine being up on this platform, and the water should be up here, but it's way down here, and that's what you're about to jump into. This represents where your mind is, okay? the good thing is that we all have the capability to be up here. We just got to start practicing and using higher cognitive function and critical thinking. We don't have to maintain this sort of black and white, right and wrong, it's this way or it's that way, binary way of operating in life. Although that's a lot of us are operating that way, especially as we get emotional. When we get emotionally charged, we tend to go down. It's almost like the water is being drained from the pool, and our decisions become faster because we want resolution quicker, and therefore we have to default to something simple. And what we have the most experience with is being that 9-year-old child. And this is where most of our limiting beliefs, this is where our triggers tend to be. And then if we go even deeper and we're just working with emotions, which is pretty much all we have to deal with when we're younger than 9, when we're starting to learn to utilize the languages that we learn from our parents and at school. Before that, it's gaga goo goo, and it's all about emotions at the 3-year-old level. And of course, if we drain that pool all the way down to that, that's basically, that ain't good at all. We don't want to be operating there. And if we get super, super emotional, think about somebody who you maybe have met, maybe it's happened to yourself, where you just get so enraged and so infuriated, or you get overly excited, you're just and something crazy happens, something silly's happened. Well, what's happened is your pool is drained all the way down, and you're actually kind of behaving like a 3-year-old, which is fine at appropriate times. If you're celebrating a birthday and somebody surprises you and you're jumping up and down, you're good. Just don't stay there for too long. We need to get back up to the adulthood level. But this is just an illustration I thought of for those of you that have been taking any of the courses that have the Cognition Tower Me Elevator, or those 2 NLP courses, or NLP 2.0 courses, which is really about the Cognition Tower and the Me Elevator. This is just something I thought of after the fact, and I said, I'm going to use this and illustrate this. But whether you've taken the course or not, I think this is just a good illustration of how we go about in life. And if we think about where we want our pool of life to be, and if we really want to go up and have a fantastic life and take some chances and really go up there and perform, even if it's not at our optimal best, it's just we're doing our best, and we end up doing a belly flop in the water and it hurts. It's okay. We do want to do it with a full pool. Okay, so we want to be using critical thinking skills, and so get into a practice. Maybe this week, part of the challenge might be for you to find some time where you're thinking outside of the box. Okay, higher cognitive function. Then maybe work out a puzzle of some sort. There's all kinds of puzzles. There are those puzzles, those word puzzles that I see in puzzle stores all the time. Every time I jump in an airplane, I grab one of these things. I love those. They're detective stories or whatever, some kind of story that you read, and then they say Mary and John and Jane and June, and then all the names, and then they have like items that they could be wearing, and the dates that they were engaged or whatever it was. Okay, so they give you, and you have to figure out who belongs to what. Very interesting stuff. All critical thinking is required with that. So go out there and find some critical thinking. And if you have something that you guys are aware of that can sort of massage that critical thinking area of the mind you want to share, please do. This is what we want to do. We want to learn from each other, not just from me. I'm kind of leading the way here, but I want everybody to take their shot at this, because that's all part of launching. And if you do it well enough, suddenly at some point you move from launching to earning, because people are going to want the information from you too. Okay, so that's it for today. Forgive my poor drawing of a I think you get the idea. So I wasn't an art major, but that is my lesson for Monday, the Monday mindset. Think positively, guys. Get out there and do your very best and appreciate the effort that you place on what it is that you do each and every day. Focus on that, because that you have control over. We don't always have control over the outcome of things, but we do have control over what kind of effort we place into what it is that we're doing. So go out there and do your very best and be proud of that effort. And then at the end of the day, take a look and see what it was that you've done, learn lessons from the mistakes, and keep doing what you're doing well. All right, that's going to wrap up this Monday motivation mindset LLE lesson.